Welcome to the Service Industry Podcast. I've spent the last decade as a CEO, operator, and business builder selling tens of millions of dollars in products and services. I, just like many of you, started with nothing. My mission for this podcast is to help you become the greatest version of yourself, help you grow and scale your business, and create the life you've always dreamed of. I'm your host, Matt Smith. Enjoy the episode. What is going on, everybody? Matt here from the Service Industry Podcast. Happy Friday. Jeez, oh Pete's, man, week flew by. Hope everybody's doing well. Today, we got a good episode. We're talking about follow-up, and I'm just going to break down really simply how I follow up with clients in the home service business world, because I've been getting this question a lot from my coaching clients lately. And so I wanted to break it down because I think people think there's like a master science behind it, but there's not. And I'm going to tell you how I do it. And hopefully you can take something from that and implement it into your business, because follow-up is where the money is made. Hey, before we dive in, listen, Monday, February 17th, so just a couple days from now, I am running a free live video training, okay? This is on Zoom, and I'm going to be teaching on the 4 core things you need to be focusing in on your home service business in 2025 in order to scale. It's completely free, no strings attached. You can literally sit on there for an entire hour and extract all of the value that I'm going to give and walk away and owe me absolutely nothing. And so I'm really excited about it. I've been working hard on the presentation. I've done presentations on this before, but this one's really beefed up and I'm excited for it. So if you want to be a part of that free training, you want to get on there 7 p.m. Eastern on Monday, February 17th. You need to email me. My email is in the show notes, or you can just email info@serviceindustrycoach.com. info@serviceindustrycoach.com. Tell me you want to be on that, and I will respond with the free Zoom link. You got to be there, man. It's going to be great. Okay. Second, I got 3 things. Second, you guys know I own serviceindustrycoach.com. If you need any kind of print marketing done, any kind of Google ads management, any kind of Facebook ads management, or you want one-on-one coaching with me directly, serviceindustrycoach.com. Reach out. Let's chat. Let's see if you're a good fit for me and I'm a good fit for you, and we'll blow you guys up this year. Last but not least, the free Facebook group. If you haven't joined it, you guys know the drill. There's 250 plus people in there. Go join the free Facebook group. Be a part of our community and enjoy, man. It's all for free, and I think you'll find a lot of value in it. All right. This can be a quick podcast today because there's not a lot to it. All right. I've been getting the question a lot lately. Matt, what's follow-up for you look like? How should I be following up with my clients? And really where this conversation has been starting is whenever I'm doing coaching with somebody, I'm always breaking down what is the low-hanging fruit that we can work on immediately to increase sales. And so when people are like, okay, I'm doing bids, blah, 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 I instantly ask them, what does your follow-up process look like on that? Sometimes they'll say, well, I just have my automated follow-ups in place. Other times they're like, I don't really know. I text them or I call them and I'm like, okay, how much, when, how often? And most of the time people don't really have like a system for it, which is totally fine. But the point of this podcast today is to hopefully, for those of you that don't have a system in place, it's to make you understand the importance of follow-up. But second, for those of you that do have a system in place, maybe one little thing I say today, you guys will implement inside of what you're already doing to get a little bit better results. Okay. The first thing I want you to understand, especially in the high ticket world, when you're selling really expensive things like roofs, HVAC, fence installations, things that are really like probably $2,000 or more, I would say. You guys might think a lot of these people are closing down the customer in person on the first appointment. But the reality is like a good close rate for a high ticket service is only around 30%. So they're closing 3, maybe 4 if they're really good out of 10 appointments they're on. So what does that mean? Well, if they're only closing 3 out of 10, they're probably only closing 1.5 in person. And so what that means is the money is in the follow-up. And the reality is I've seen guys who have gone from 30% close rates to 50 and 60% close rates, not because they became better salespeople in person, but because they simply implemented a follow-up system which allowed them to extract more money out of the customer. I've always said the company that follows up with the customer the best will win, okay? Not every time, but more often than not. And so for me, this is how I do it. You guys can take it as it is. This is how I've done it in every single home service business I've been a part of. And it's simply like this. First, you guys know I'm a massive believer in in-person quotes, okay? I'm a big believer in in-person quotes. I'm a big believer in presentation, and I'm a big believer in packaging services. Why? Because in-person quotes, people buy from people they like, know, and trust, okay? They get to know you. They see a face. They can put two and two together. You can vibe with each other. It's just so much easier to close a deal in person than just sending them a quote through email or over the phone. But the second thing is I like to get in person so I can document the house really well. I can put that in our CRM. That way we never have to go back out there again. But also so I can give the customer my beautiful, nice, shiny estimate sheet with all my packages on it. By the way, tons of you guys always reach out when I talk about estimate sheets. We do those as well if you want to get those designed and printed by us, okay? But I love handing these to the customer because I don't even have to sell anything. The estimate sheet upsells itself, okay? But let's just say the customer doesn't get sold and I leave. What do I do next? Well, typically before I leave, I'm going to ask the customer, because they're probably going to throw me an objection that maybe I was or was not able to overcome, right? I'm going to say, hey, when would be a good time for me to follow back up? And they're going to tell me, well, Matt, I'm getting 2 or 3 quotes. So we're hoping, today's Monday. I'm hoping we'll be good by Friday. So why don't you give me a call on Friday? Hey, no problem. I'll definitely do that. Boom. So I'm going to go into my CRM. I'm going to put a note in their account saying customers getting multiple quotes asked me to follow up on Friday. I presented the quote in person. By the way, your CRM is a living and breathing part of your business. Okay. You guys should be taking notes like crazy in your CRM for every single customer. You're out doing a quote and Mrs. Jones has a dog. Oh, what's your dog's name? Oh, his name's Frankie. Perfect. Boom. I'm typing in the CRM, dog's name's Frankie, right? Why? Because then next year when I follow up with the customer to reservice with us, Miss Jones, how's Frankie? She's gonna be like, holy crap, how's this guy remember this, right? Okay, little side note, but document the crap out of everything. Photos, conversations, owners' names, kids' names, pets' names, everything that they give you, document it, okay? So when I leave that house, if I haven't closed it, regardless of when they ask me to follow back up, I'm calling 24 hours later, okay? Now you'll hear me say calling. I didn't say text. I didn't say email. I'm calling the customer. They pick up the phone. Miss Jones, Matt here. Hey, I know you said you weren't going to be making any decisions until Friday, but it's super common that after people have a night to sleep on the estimate that they have questions that pop up. Did you and your husband have any questions? And at that time, they're going to be like, you know what? We actually did talk about it, blah, 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 blah. This question, that question, you can answer them. Close them. Close the deal. Mrs. Jones, it sounds like this is a good fit for you. Am I right? Yeah. I think this is great. Why don't we just save time? I mean, we can literally have your house serviced by Friday rather than you wait for all these other quotes that come in. We're going to take amazing care of you. You're going to love us. You're going to literally use us for the rest of the time that you own this house. Close them down, okay? If they don't close, that's okay too. Guess what I'm going to do? I'm going to honor their wish, and I'm going to follow up when they told me to. So if I do the quote on a Monday, I'm following up on Tuesday, regardless if they ask me to follow up on Friday or not. Okay, I'm gonna give them that little pitch, like I just said, and it's important to say it just like that. Mrs. Jones, when we give estimates, it's not uncommon at all that when people sleep on it, they come up with questions the following day. So I always just like to follow up with people to see if you had any questions after you and your husband talked about it last night. Okay, something along those lines, and then close them down. But if you don't close them down, I'm following up with them on that date. Now, here's what can happen. Okay, here's what I want you guys to understand. This is why I follow up 24 hours later, because statistically, the probability of you actually closing a job after like 24 or 48 hours decreases massively. Like I don't have the exact stat in front of me, but it's ginormous. I read it probably 3 or 4 months ago and I was like, holy smokes. Like after 24 hours, it dropped so much. And so although I didn't know that for the last decade and I've been following up within 24 hours, it's just an even better reason to do so. But understand, the further away you get from the date of the estimate, the day you went out and did the quote, the harder and less likely it's going to be to close the deal. Now, let me give you another scenario. I follow up 24 hours. They don't answer. Okay, they don't answer the phone. Well, maybe they didn't answer because they know my number now and she didn't want to talk to me. Okay, because maybe she doesn't have an answer or she doesn't want to move forward. Maybe they didn't answer because she's at work and they're busy. I don't know. I don't care. Here's the voicemail I'm going to leave. Mrs. Jones, Matt here. Hey, I know you told me you weren't going to be making a decision till Friday, right? Give her the whole spiel like I just said. No problem at all. What I'll do, because I know you're busy, I'll just give you a call back tomorrow. Hope you have a great day. Talk to you soon. What did that do? That just told Mrs. Jones that I am not going to stop calling her until she picks up the phone. So she either needs to pick up the phone and tell me to go away or I'm going to buy, right? Now, after I leave the voicemail, I'm going to immediately send a text message and say, Mrs. Jones, Matt here. I just left you a voicemail. When you get a chance, could you listen to it, please? Okay. And then I'm also going to fire off an email. Mrs. Jones, Matt here. I sent you a text and I left you a voicemail. Let me know when you have a second to chat. You're like, gosh, that seems like a lot. It is a lot. But guess what, dude? You got to be a lot because your competitors are going to do it too. I want to follow up more than anybody else. And the way I look at follow-up is the same way I look at marketing. It's more touches on the customer. How many more times can I get in front of this customer so all they do is think about me when it comes to making this buying decision? So here's the thing. This is going to vary a little bit depending on the size of your business. Okay? So if you have, let's start from the beginning. If you're an owner-operator, let's say, you're going to be doing all of this yourself. Right? You're going out, you're doing the quote, meeting the customer, doing all the follow-up, etc. You still should document everything in your CRM because we forget things. Okay? But then let's say you're the next step up where you actually hire an office person. Well, maybe you as the owner, right, who's probably still on a truck and still running quotes and doing all this stuff, maybe you want to delegate the follow-up process to the office person. Okay? Well, the office person has to have notes in order to properly follow up. But teaching them how to do this is simple. And so you're like, well, what's next, Matt? What's like the magic potion to get them to close? There is none. The point is you follow up with the customer as many times as humanly possible until they tell you no or they buy. Okay? So it's not uncommon that the customer doesn't give you a date that they want you to call them back on. Guess what I'm doing? I'm calling them every 24 hours for at minimum a week, but likely more. Okay? The first week, what I would do is I would be calling them to follow up every 24 hours, sending a text message, sending an email. After week 1, I'll probably switch it to every other day. After week 2, I'll probably mark the prospect dead, or I'll at least put it to the side and maybe follow up once a month, but I'll always put them on a drip campaign for email marketing. All right. That way you're staying top of mind that way. Because here's the thing. A lot of people think that just because a customer ghosts you, you think they went somewhere else to buy. That's not always the case. Sometimes the customer gets multiple quotes and it's way more than they anticipated and they don't have the money and they're embarrassed to tell you that. And so rather, they just don't talk to you ever again. But if you put them on a drip campaign and you continuously send them emails, okay, not badgering them necessarily, but sending them marketing emails once, twice, 3 times a month, guess who they're going to think of when they do have the money? They're going to think of you. So just because you came out and did a quote today and it didn't close doesn't mean they're not going to call you up 8, 9, 10 months from now and saying, hey, we're ready. Okay? And so this happens all the time. So to make it really simple so you guys can take some actionable steps away from this episode is implement this if you haven't. Every time you do a quote, you follow up within 24 hours with a phone call. Okay? If they answer, you go through that little script I told you. If they don't, you leave a voicemail, send a text, and send an email. and you continue to follow up every 24 hours for 1 week. After that, it's every other day for 1 week. After that, I would follow up maybe once a month, but I would leave them in a prospect list. Okay. And then you're going to transfer their email into a drip campaign and send them 2 or 3 emails per month. Okay. So that is the process right there. Now, some of you guys, okay, and this is not necessarily follow-up related, but some of you guys need to get your sales skills in order, because you would close a lot more deals, not only on the spot, but also on the follow-ups if you knew how to sell, if you were good at sales. And I'm not talking about being a pushy salesman. Okay, I'm not talking about strong-arming someone to sign a document at the kitchen table. Okay, there's many ways around being better at sales. One guy I think I could refer you guys to all go listen to if you haven't already, Jeremy Miner. You heard me and Ethan when Ethan was on the podcast talk about him. He, in my opinion, he's great for tonality. Okay, the way that you're talking to a customer and the speed and the gaps in your words and your tonality and how you say things matters. It freaking matters. And so go look up Jeremy Miner on YouTube and start to just binge watch some of his sales stuff. It'll help you guys a lot. Okay. But more than anything, even a bad sales guy can do some pretty good damage with a great follow-up. So I just want to encourage you guys with that today, because I can guarantee most of you are missing out on tons of money simply because your follow-up game sucks. You get busy, you get distracted, you're running the business. Before you know it, a week's gone by. You're like, I should probably call that quote, and then you forget, and then 2 weeks gone by, and then you call them once, and they don't answer, and poof, it's gone. You're like, it doesn't work. Like, that's not how the game works. Why? Because somebody like myself was calling them every 24 hours until they bought. And so whatever you have to do, listen, follow-ups don't take long. Like, block out 15 minutes on your calendar right now for every day of the week to do your follow-ups. Just name it follow-up, and nothing gets in the way. Nothing. Okay? And do it like in the morning, do it in the afternoon. I don't care. But block out 15 minutes a day and implement this basic follow-up system in your home service business and watch what it does. Okay? This isn't rocket science. You're simply just touching the customer more than everybody else. You're reaching out. You're hitting them from all angles. And because of that, you'll make more money. All right. I love you guys. Hey, go sign up for that free training. Send me an email. I'll get you the Zoom link. I really want to see you guys on there. We've got like 30 some people signed up. Let's get to 50. Okay. I see how many downloads this show has. A very small percentage of you have signed up. It would be foolish of you guys not to show up to this free training, and I would love and be honored to have you there. I'll see you on the next episode. Thank you for listening to this episode of the podcast. As always, if you need any help marketing your business or want to work with me directly doing one-on-one coaching, visit serviceindustrycoach.com. We'll see you on the next episode.